talk about Twitter, okay? You and I are probably not going to make a ton of friends here, but I listened to, the All In pod this week. I don't know about you. And then guess who showed up? Because obviously David Sachs and Elon Musk are clearly close. I think David was in the Twitter building when he did this. But I started listening and stepping out from all the emotional response that we're getting, all the emotional and the anger about Elon, and just listen to the product story. Whether it's been the ability to start to link personal and business accounts together, whether you're starting to see the ability for it to track. And by the way, I love the data, and sometimes I hate it because when my tweets get a lot of action and I see great numbers, I love it. And when they kind of just pass through the stream without much engagement, I'm sad and bitter that people can see how poorly my tweet has performed. I'm looking at some of the infrastructure things he's been able to do. Because, by the way, to get real-time stats, he said it was something like 3 million operations per second or something that needs. So his ability to update product features, infrastructure, and Twitter's humming. I mean, I know everybody's really pissed, but Mastodon's not going to be a thing. I'm just going to tell you that. And Elon Musk may actually, God, I know people hate him right now, and I know it's all political, but he's good at product. I think Twitter might actually be better in 2023. What's your thoughts, Pat?
So I think that Elon was looked at as a savior for saving the planet with its Tesla cars. And he was given accolades, and he was on the front covers of magazines. But now that he comes in and kind of shows that he's more of a centrist, then he's getting attacked, which doesn't surprise me a bit. The challenge, though, is it's going over to the attitudes of Twitter. There's nothing that Elon Musk said about what to expect from Twitter that's not actually happening. In fact, he went out of his way to say, we're going to be making a lot of changes. We're going to screw up some things, okay? Give us a little bit of grace on that. And he outed what people said weren't happening. In fact, Jack up on Capitol Hill said that shadow banning wasn't happening. But in fact, it was happening. And that really is irritating a bunch of the folks who tend to lean left. So here's the guidance that I'm giving on Twitter to brands, which is go where your users are. If your users are getting out of Twitter, then the importance for you to be on there is going down. If they're still on Twitter, I don't know, half of them, 3/4 of them, you need to stay on Twitter because your competitors likely will. I mean, what are you going to do? Take your thing to a Mastodon that, gosh, if I hear, whether it's on the right or on the left, hey, we're going to build this new, what is that, like the Truth Social or something? That's not doing very well.
Let's build platforms, Pat, to make sure that there's never any discourse. Let's just build echo chambers now, right?
No, I think that sounds terrible, right? So, if you're a brand, I mean, get off at your own, beware. What are you going to go to? Something that is run by the Chinese, that you have an even less percent of chance of probably getting what you want. So anyways, be careful out there. I think at the end of 2023, Twitter will be looked at. It'll be so boring because it will be successful and people will come back to the platform that we won't even be talking about it.
So if I could just say one more thing, this is a little out of school for me, but maybe 23 will be a new year for me. When you're reading these files, okay, the things that have been released, and I know a lot of people, but to me, isn't there a point where we all kind of have to look at ourselves and say, it's possible that two things are happening, both of which I agree or disagree with, and they can be politically opposite. For instance, you could say Donald Trump Trump played a part of inciting a coup or a hostile, or whatever you want to call it, an insurrection. And you could actually look at the media, look at the news, look at the story, look at the data and say, that happened. You could also look at these files about COVID that have come out and say, that's scary that they went to such lengths to try to hide potential information from the population that was being provided by real credible experts in the field because it simply didn't go along. And what I'm saying is it's weird how like you can't, and in this case, see both things. And that's to me like feels like how we arrive at the center is at some point you have to be able to realize that people on the right and the left do things both right and wrong. It's not always, just one side. And people will completely, we talked about it with the Apple and China, Pat, because people want their iPhones and they right now happen to maybe see a different dictator as the problematic one, we completely give a pass to the other.
Yeah.
And my point is, can't we see both as bad or good, or one is good? You know what I mean? But I don't know. It's very interesting to me that we've lost the ability for nuance, lost the ability for subjectivity in these kinds of things. When I see both of those examples as problematic.
Yeah, that would be great. And I did grow up in a world where, thank goodness, that there was nuance and there was discussion, and there was common belief and common view on something that brought the country together. So I am hoping that will come in 2023, but quite frankly, I think there's like a 0% of that happening. There have been, if you look historically over 500 years and society's abilities to gel, it either comes at a huge weather event, a war, or a sickness event. And we took COVID and we actually turned that into a way to bifurcate even more than we were before. And the two other, the war thing is just too awful to think about because it would likely be a conflict with China or a nuclear war with Russia. So anyways, I am going to try to do what I can do to be as balanced as I possibly can, and look at it from all sides critically, right, with fact and history and things like that. And I'll admit sometimes I get sucked in multiple directions at the same time.